different frequency production. Frequency is measured in hertz.
They hit you frequently.
Hey there, and happy Saturday. Welcome back. Biking through Amsterdam, trying not to get killed with these maniacs here on the road. Here on Do Epic. Welcome to the channel. I'm meeting up with Dion. I met him 22 years ago in New Zealand, and we're gonna get on a boat, not quite that big, in about 15 minutes or so. He wanted to meet at a place called the Wānaka. It's where they have cocktails, and I can jump on this boat from there. So this is Dion on Broski.
Broski boats, sure.
Here in Amsterdam, Holland. Okay, this is my first boat in a while. He's right, it's a pretty small boat. So you gotta be careful not to rock too much. unless you want to take a swim. One of the many bridges of over the canal. The book I'm reading right now is called Amsterdam, the World's Most Liberal City by Russell Sordo. And he goes back like 500 or 700 years and explains back to the Roman Empire and before. But the development of the city, right now I'm at the time of the Renaissance basically, where we have Rembrandt, who used to live over that way somewhere. How he was amazing, but then he died a pauper because he didn't really fit in the real world at the time. But that building down there, I'm sure is in my book, and I'll tell you all about it later. That's where we're headed. So, Dion, where are we headed?
We're just gonna go around the city center through the canals and just
excellent.
Look at everything.
When I look at the maps, it says A10, ring A10. So do you know what ring we're on right now, or do you have any?
Ring is for cars.
True, ring is for cars, but I mean, I thought there's like 6 canals. I mean, 6, canals, right? Do you know which one we're? Yeah. So are we going further in towards the main part? Oh, excellent. So that's the part of the city that was filled in. It used to be swampland. Matter of fact, much of this too was all swampy swampland, and they just filled it in and then created the canals, which in the middle 1600s was a major feat of architectural geniusness.
Say it again. And then push me off. Yeah.
I'm pushing them off.
Do epic shit.
Dion and I were just talking about the differences between the U.S. slave system of where you work, 60, 80 hours a week for your 11 and a half months, so you could have those glorious 2 weeks off to go somewhere. I moved to Ecuador when I was 26, and I met Europeans like his mom and dozens others who I then began to learn that working for 11 and a half months for 2 weeks off was just not the way to go. Not for me, at least. And even before that, I think that's why I chose the profession of journalism and teaching. But I'm going to remind Dion about some other things. We call him G Unit, GGG. His name is Dion G. and he's on the Broski, his boat that he bought last December during COVID or near the end of COVID, and because he wanted to set a goal to be more positive and have something to look forward to after some tough times. So I'm going to bring you back to a much happier time. It'll be 22 years next month. We met right before the 2000 Olympics in I was leaving Australia for my third or fourth visa in a year, and the way you had to do it, you could either you could either leave Australia and go to like Indonesia or anywhere but Australia and then come back and get another 3 months, or you could just pay $75 back then. All you had to do was pay $75 and prove that you were independently wealthy, which I was. Obviously at 36 I had a lot of money to live in Australia on my own. I basically just lied back then and said I was making enough money off of my articles. Freelance writer back in 2000. I was a freelance writer. I was getting paid a little bit of money, but not enough to support me. Like back then I think you had to have $700 a month or something like that, proof that you were making that. They were pretty lax back then. But so my last time in late August, I left for New Zealand, and that's where I met Dion, and we'll cover that in just a minute. His mom was the most amazing woman, where she as well was a teacher, and every year she would ask this young man, he was 11 in that picture, ask him, hey, where do you want to go? And the way she told me, he would pick 3 places, she would pick 3 places, and you'd try to go to all of those places in that summer, yeah? Or during that vacation?
That's cool, yeah, I don't really remember that part actually, but I know that we always went traveling. We went to Greece for like the first 10 years of my life. And I'm half Greek, and my mother wanted me to get to know the country a little as well. We would have the same holidays because she was a teacher and I was in school, so we would have 6 weeks in summer and we just travel and go see all the islands and go backpacking. And then of course we also made the big trips to Australia and New Zealand where we met you. So.
Hi, what's your name? Marije told me, all right, so this is how we met. I was going to first Christchurch to, well, that's where I landed from Sydney, Australia, getting my visa. And then I met this man at a soup and baked potato shop, and I said to him, like I very often do, I have plans where I want to travel, and I said to him, hey, if I only had 3 days here, where should I go? I had like 5 weeks here, but I was just like, what was the thing you would do if as a local? He said, go to Dunedin. I'm like, what the hell is Dunedin? Well, that's a Scottish castle there, the oldest castle in New Zealand on the South Island, and that's where I met this guy and his mom. And she told me the story over drinks one night. I guess you might have already gone to bed, but she told me the stories. We were playing pool or something, because you love to play pool. And after you went to bed, she's like, yeah, I asked him, you know, before summer break, like where he would like to visit. And like one year you said Disney World. And I think it was the same year, Disney World, Great Barrier Reef, and something else. And so of the 3 places, you guys ended up obviously in Disney World that year in California, because you had just come from California and Australia, and we all met in Dunedin. And your mom's plans were to take you skiing or up north, and I was going to Te Anau in the south. So I said, hey, well, if you're going skiing or to the mountain, Franz Josef, I want to go there too. Let's just meet up. So we picked a day to meet up. This is pre-cell phone, pre-Wi-Fi and all that. So we just said, on this day, I should be at this hostel near Franz Josef. So I went, did my boat trip in Milford Sound, and then I met up with these guys. And yeah, so he was 11 when I met him, because he had just turned 11. And while you were in the Great Barrier Reef, yeah?
No, we were on safari in, I think it was Kakadu National Park.
Where was that? Oh, Kathmandu. Oh.
No, Kakadu.
Oh, Kakadu, yeah. Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that this kid gets his mom, who's a teacher, who takes him all over the world. You guys went to Brazil one year too, right?
Yep.
The year you went to Brazil was the year you were going to meet up with me in New York, but at the last, I said I had a room in my apartment ready for you guys to come visit, and then I think either I was also traveling. Oh, that's what it was. I was traveling, and I said, well, you can have my apartment, but we wouldn't meet up. And that's when I think she changed the plans to go to Brazil, because she's like, well, if you're not going to be there, we can go to New York when you're there, kind of. And I think I was going maybe to Europe that year. No, I was going somewhere, but we were crossing paths. Your mom and I tried to meet up several times throughout these last 20-some years, but it was always I was somewhere else, or you guys are going a different direction. And
okay, so we were on the mountain, and well, actually, before we get to the mountain, I'm going to backtrack. So I asked Dion yesterday, during lunch, I said, you remember the story I told you on the way? We had to walk up this big road to get to the snow, because the bottom part of the mountain, it was springtime or whatever, or early winter, and it had just a dirt path. Do you remember the story I told you? You have any clues of what it was? Because we had a long walk to do, and I wanted to keep you occupied.
Oh, yeah. We talked about something. Yeah, no, it hasn't come back to me yet. So.
Okay, so it's the African proverb, the lion and the boy. And basically the story, which was told to me by a guy, Thulani, he's, I'm going to get his country wrong now, but he was traveling with Moses Oja, all members from African nations, and they were performing music all around Australia right before I met up with you guys. I was kind of like their PR agent. I was writing articles for them and publishing photos of their tour while they were on the eastern side of Australia. Anywho, the story goes very briefly like this. There's a lion, and of course he's the king of the jungle, and he gets a thorn stuck in his paw. And all these other animals come up to him. Like, at first it's like a wombat or a squirrel or whatever, and the lion's like, please take the thorn out, please take the thorn out. And they're basically like, nope, because then you'll eat me, you'll kill me. And he's like, no.
In his paw. And all these other animals come up to him. Like, at first it's like a wombat or a squirrel or whatever, and the lion's like, please take the thorn out, please take the thorn out. And they're basically like, nope, because then you'll eat me, you'll kill me. And he's like, no, I promise, I will help you. And several animals go by, and there's a whole story about each animal. The monkey and all the other animals have a story of why they're not, or a reason why they're not going to help the lion, even though he's the king of the jungle. Finally, a boy comes up, and there's a long conversation, basically. And the boy's like, well, you'll maul me, you'll master me if I help you out. And he says, I promise you I won't. The boy takes the thorn out, and they become friends. And that's basically the story of, be kind to others, and you get back what you put out. But the story goes on for like 20 minutes.
But the story goes on for like 20 minutes, and as we're walking up the hill, it took a lot of time. Because you were complaining about when are we gonna get there? What the fuck?
Yeah, I do remember that.
It's like, we gotta walk up this hill. Where's the fuck is the snow? You weren't swearing, but you're like, maybe you were swearing in Dutch, but I don't know. And so we had to keep you entertained. So we finally get up the hill, and we had the problem of the lift. Remember?
Yeah, the T. Now we're gonna say it right. The T lift.
The T-bar. The
T-bar lift. Yeah.
So hold your hands out like you're holding the bar. Yeah, you have to hold the bar like that and be dragged. For those of you who don't ski, there's usually a ski lift. You just sit your ass in. It's either a quad or it's a double or even the threes. So you have 3 people can sit in one chair and go up the damn hill, or you have 2 people or 4 people, the quad. Anyway, this was a T-bar where you hold on to the bar with your hands and you get your ass dragged up the hill, and then you ski down. So you have to have your skis on and slowly be pulled up the hill, but you don't have any control because the machine is just, it's on a rope, it's on a conveyor belt, on a pulley system, just pulling your ass up. And he was all, fuck it. He fell down a couple times, and he was just very upset. And so, do you remember what I did?
You mean plastic bags?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you saved the day. So we figured.
So what I did is I just, while he was complaining and bitching and moaning, and his mom was just like, oh, what are we going to do? I promised him we could get skiing and snowboarding. And I went to the kitchen. There was a restaurant right there, and I just said, hey, do you have any trash bags? Really big 25-gallon trash bags. And they said, yeah, sure. I said, this kid out here, he doesn't understand the T-bar. I just want to get him up on the mountain. They're like, yeah, you can have it for free. They gave him to me for free. And so we trudge up the mountain, and we're just trudging up the mountain, and we're trudging up some more, and we're trudging up some more, and your mom is down at the bottom, and we might have gone up 200 meters or whatever, not too far up, and I'm like, is this high enough? Are you ready to go? He goes, no, a little bit higher. So we go a little bit higher, and he never had his ass wrapped up in a plastic bag before. So I'm like, we ripped him up, and I told him how to like wrap it all around him. And because he's half the size of me even now, he could almost get his whole body in the bag. And I showed him, I would just have my ass in the bag and lean back, and then feet up, hands up, and then went down. And you put your hands down to steer whatever way you want to go. And of course, the first couple ones, you know, he's flopping around in the steep snow, and then after, you know, 3 or 4 runs, he gets it, and he's got his whole body in a ball, and he's just flying down this fucking hill, and his mom has to like kind of catch him at the bottom because he would have just hit whatever. And yeah, we did that maybe 7, 10 more times, and kind of made the day because otherwise, he would have just had the story about the lion and the boy, and that would have been about it, and he would have been pretty upset. Okay, so Dion has taken me to one of his favorite spots with a few nicer looking houseboats. He says it's right around the corner to the right of that bridge, I believe, where there's less traffic. You can already see here there's far less traffic. But maybe not, just 6 or 7 more boats coming this way. But they probably will not take the right to where it's more tranquil. Is there a reason why there's no other boats here? I mean, is it just not many people?
There are streets.
Yeah.
I guess people don't know. It slows up over there.
Oh, okay. That's another good reason. So Dion has slowed down a bit, so not to create so many big waves for these kayakers or these stand-up paddleboarders. How are you? Not bad, thanks. And that's closed off down at the end, so this, like Dion was saying, is like their street. So they might boat to work. So no waves, we had no waves. Good job, Dion. He didn't wipe them out like he could.
Way back.
This is the size of the house you want to live in by the boathouse?
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. A lot of upkeep. I guess you'd have maids though, huh? You'd have a few maids and
Maybe, why not?
because you couldn't take care of that house by yourself. That's mammoth. You'd spend like 5 hours a day just taking care of the house. So now we're here down like at the cul-de-sac of this area outside of the rings in Amsterdam. So what's your favorite country that you've been to, like when you were a kid and as an adult?
As a kid, I would have to say maybe Australia and New Zealand, actually, on the trip I made with my mother and when we met you, because it was just such a big difference and I hadn't experienced anything like that before. So it was just like changed my worldview and it's such a great experience. So
Nice,
we did
nice.
so much we packed so much in those a little under 3 months we were gone. So
Right.
that was amazing. Yeah.
And whom else did you meet? Like, say, did you meet any Aborigines up in Australia? Did you meet anyone from the Great Barrier Reef region? Or who else do you remember? Or other experiences that you had there that you really
remember the safaris. Those were great.
Yeah.
The nature was just awesome. I was just interested in everything. I remember the waterfalls we saw, the Jim Falls, I thought they were called. Those were really cool. Kakadu National Park, all the animals, crocodiles, snakes,
Nice.
stuff like that. It was just, yeah.
Did you go to Ayers Rock?
Yeah.
Ayers Rock?
Yeah, I climbed it.
Did you
Even
really?
though We
Yeah,
weren't
you're not
supposed
the
to,
poster.
I
You're-
did.
That's
Yeah.
bad mojo.
Yeah, well. I did. It was
All
cool,
right.
yeah.
And you have pictures of that?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. How about as an adult? Where's
As an adult, well, I think I would say South Africa.
Okay, cool. And
Also because of nature.
yeah.
I went to Kruger Park, for example, and that was just awesome. Even though I was sick, I'd taken some malaria pills and I got horribly sick from that.
Yeah. Did you have those psychotic dreams and all that? Did you have like paranoid?
No, I didn't have that, but I did have like crazy fever.
Yeah.
I don't know, some toilet issues.
Yeah.
We won't go into
Travelers
detail.
are always
We won't
talking
go
about
into detail.
diarrhea and throwing up. Yeah. We always are talking about that.
Yeah.
So you again for the nature and the national parks that you went to and the safaris, yeah, down there? Yeah. Cool. You've been to Australia, you've been to South America, North America.
Yeah.
Where'd you go in South America?
So in Brazil.
Do you speak Portuguese?
No, but I do speak Spanish quite well.
Yes. I've heard you speaking earlier. Ducky. You look delicious. Little orange. Tasty. So there's the bathroom. For those of you interested, there he goes. Relief. And I'm just using my ass to anchor the boat. You see, there's water and there's the grass. I'm sitting in duck shit, by the way. There's a little bit of duck shit under me.
I noticed that too.
But that's your favorite bridge right there, Dion?
I really like it.
Yeah. That's a beautiful bridge, yeah. But we're gonna go under this one, the stone bridge, or the brick bridge. Woo!